It is known as the school to prison pipeline, and it shows what goes on in our schools can directly impact crime on our streets.
In tonight's Safe KC report, 41 Action News anchor Kevin Holmes sits down with two Metro superintendents to discuss how we can stop it.
It's okay. This is more important.
A very fruitful conversation at Ruby Jean's over smoothies.
When I look on the news,
with two superintendents from both sides of the state line about a problem that's blended, education and crime.
When I say the words school to prison pipeline, what's the first thing that enters your mind?
I mean, to me, miseducated youngsters that just haven't been given a fair shot.
misunderstood youngsters that sometimes educators really don't understand.
The school to prison pipeline is a phrase often used to describe practices and punishment likely to push at-risk youth out of school and into the criminal justice system. According to the ACLU, students suspended or expelled for a discretionary violation, they're nearly 3 times as likely to be in contact with the justice system the following year, with one demographic seeing it more often.
Our black students only make up about 9% of the student population. They're about 16 to 17% of the students that are being suspended.
A very similar trend nationwide, with black students making up roughly 16% of the public school population, but 31% of school-related arrests. Both men working to change that by teaching administrators that conflict resolution should trump punishment.
If you don't do that, chances are when they leave our walls and they have a disagreement, they'll end up picking up a gun or a knife and contributing to the murder rates that are taking place in our cities.
If you do not have the right resources and supports in place, that gap tends to widen.
Another resource to close that gap is pre-K funding.
Those kids then enter into kindergarten already behind developmentally. You end up finding yourself having to perform triage.
In Kansas City alone, roughly 40% of the city's 7,000 4-year-olds lack access to pre-K. Mayor Sly James proposed a sales tax to fund a pre-K assistance program for all Kansas City children. And while KCPS agrees with the thought, Dr. Mark Bedell says more dialogue needs to happen before it goes before voters.
How does it work for school systems? How does it work for providers? You know, and if it's a sales tax, there's always that question around parochial schools.
And sometimes it just starts with a conversation, either at home or in the classroom.
In my 10th grade year, I had my homeroom teacher, Mr. Barrett, and Mr. Barrett had pulled me up to his desk one day and he basically told me, "You are academically gifted and you don't even know it." And that was the first time that I actually had a teacher tell me that there was academic talent within me. But in the 10th grade.
Our thanks to Kevin Holmes for that report. KCPS recently rolled out a new strategic plan after the school board approved an additional $1.2 million to hire full-time reading interventionalists. They'll be assigned to grades K through 2nd to schools deemed most at risk. The plan also helps reduce the teacher-to-student ratio. 41 Action News continues to be committed to telling your stories that impact your neighborhoods. If you have a story, idea, or if you know somebody making a difference where you live, email us right now at safekc@kshb.com.